Rick, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you very much for coming.
Well, we were just in Grandview School District, and it's important for us to kind of get a good understanding of what's going on in Sunnyside relative to what we're hearing on levy equalization reductions in our state and how that affects the Sunnyside School District.
You know, levy equalization is a key part of the overall education program in Sunnyside. It provides curriculum instruction, student programs, safety and security, technology. It's really part of the basic work we do to make sure our kids are successful.
So are you using the levy monies that you have in the election and the levy equalization to fill the gap of what the state is not putting into their responsibilities?
You know, the rule of thumb that I've always worked on as a superintendent is the state funds about 76% of our basic education program and causes or lets communities raise 24% to make up the difference of basic education. This 24% is part of the whole basic education program, and we need that funding.
Well, you know what? Sunnyside School District has a superintendent that is absolutely passionate about the safety and security of its students. You've been adamant about it since the day you got here. Talk to me about how any reductions in levy equalization would affect that and what you currently use levy equalizations for in the area of security and safety for your youngsters.
You know, back in the not too recent past, school districts in other states had some issues with major shootings and students being killed, et cetera. And that really focused us with the gangs and the weapons issues sometimes we face around Sunnyside to make sure that doesn't happen in our schools. So we made a real commitment to have security liaisons, making sure they're equipped to be the eyes and ears of safety in our schools, and have entered into a partnership with the city to have security resource officers. They are police officers that are in our schools that are there in a preventive way, and they make sure it's safe. Levy and levy equalization cuts over the last 2 years have had us make cuts in an SRO position, in a security liaison position, and our most recent schedule is below bare bones. We don't have adequate security coverage at all times for what we need in our schools. And so what's happening is teachers are picking up that gap, principals are picking up that gap, but our ability to network and make sure we have eyes and ears paying attention to what our kids need has been diminished. If there's more cuts, and we have to cut more security liaisons and more security resource officers, I think it's going to spill out into our community, who's really going to wonder if our schools are safe. Is some of that gang activity or the weapons and the shootings that are happening going to spill into our schools? It hasn't happened because we've managed it very well. But as the resource diminishes, I'm really anxious about keeping kids safe.
So assuming that the governor's proposals, the legislature's debates that have to do ongoing with levy equalization, it continually is something that is discussed because it seems to be something people think is not basic education for security and safety in our schools. What are you going to do if that cut becomes even deeper than we anticipate? You
know, I have looked at the thought process of cutting levy equalization. What that means in Sunnyside is 10% of a $60 million budget. It's over $6 million. And when you start getting into a reduction of 10% of your budget, you are going to necessarily see large reductions in SROs and security.
And SROs are school resource officers.
School resource officers with the city. Bye guys. You know, we would be looking at not having any support to make sure buildings are safe and secure. And that's not a good proposition to be thinking about in terms of kid safety.
You hit on an issue of providing strong academic programs for your youngsters and using levy monies to help do that and having to make those choices. Technology in the Sunnyside School District, I know, is a huge component in academic improvement of your students. What is a reduction in levy equalization going to do to the thrust that you have for technology and the improved learning?
You know, we with the cuts have had to reduce the amount of money we have for technology, and technology ranges from computers, computer labs, using iPods, keeping kids connected to the larger world in terms of learning, and we already operate technology in less than enough to make sure kids are accessing computers and having enough time to be able to do their work. To go on and connect, especially our kids from poverty who don't have those resources at home, to the broader world to get them ready to go to college would be impossible. If there's further cuts in levy equalization, the money for technology, the money for safety and security goes away.
Passion that you have here in Sunnyside is so important, and the leadership of all of the folks in school boards right now is going to be more critical than ever.
You know, I really have to say, I've been a superintendent, I think I'm going on my 25th or 26th year now as a school superintendent. And I've had a career that I would describe to you as being pretty optimistic. We can find solutions, we can find ways. Even in the poor communities I've worked and lived in, we've been able to cobble together or connect resources to make sure our kids are successful. In this latest round of cuts, I don't feel very optimistic. For the first time in a 25-year career, I'm losing hope that they're going to provide, they being our state, resources to even get our basic fundamental work done with kids. And as class sizes go up and resources for kids in kindergarten go down, I have lost some hope, Ray, and I'm really saddened that we haven't stepped up and making sure that we are kept equal with all the districts in the state to give our kids a basic, a good education. Because we've been doing it in Sunnyside. And you know, our scores are going up and things are going well, and when I look at this and we get cuts and we can't do that anymore, I'm disappointed. I'm more than disappointed. I don't want to say I'm angry, but we've got to make sure that we get these necessary resources so the kids of Sunnyside can be successful, just like the kids of Grandview and Yakima and Prosser and Pasco and all around our region. We don't want to lose one kid. And I think if we lose these resources, we're going to go back to sorting and selecting kids instead of focusing on making sure every single kid makes it.
And every kid in our state needs that ability to be on the same level.
They deserve it.
Yeah, they do.
They deserve it. I don't want to be the school superintendent who sits with the family and looks them in the eye and say, I don't have the resources to give you what you need so your student, young son or daughter can go on and make it. I don't want to be the superintendent. I want to give those parents a plan. I want them to have hope. And I want that kid to make it. I want the students to graduate.
Your message is very clear. Thanks a lot, Rick. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for talking to me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.